star fortress Varyon floated like a dark metal island in the middle of a burning, dying star. The star glowed red and angry, and its light spread across the massive alien station. The whole fortress looked like it had been built by creatures who were scared of something very, very big. Long metal claws held up shield towers. Laser cannons pointed in all directions. Energy nets stretched like huge spider webs in space. And inside the deepest part of the fortress, behind 10 layers of shields, alarms, and locked doors, lay the creature that no one wanted to wake. Scalethorn, the deadliest dragon in the galaxy. Every alien knew the stories. Whole fleets burned to dust. Metal ships melted like candles. Planets cracked open like eggs. Scalethorn was a living nightmare covered in black armor scales and glowing red veins. He was a monster that even warlords feared to speak about. Today, the fortress was louder than usual. Sirens beeped. Metal doors slammed shut. Soldiers in armor ran across the halls, shouting warnings in different alien languages. No one must enter the dragon chamber. Do not go close. Do not touch the creature. On the main viewing deck, hundreds of aliens gathered behind a thick safety glass wall. Their eyes glowed in fear as the red warning lights flashed again and again. The huge dragon lay inside his cage, bound with energy chains that hummed like angry electricity. Each breath he took was like a mini explosion. Smoke curled from his nostrils. Every time he opened one eye, the entire fortress seemed to hold its breath. And today, Scalethorn's eye opened, a single glowing golden eye staring at something he sensed far away. A commander with 4 arms barked orders. Keep the shields at full power. The creature is restless. Another alien gulped. But sir, why? Nothing has happened. Something had happened. A ship was arriving. A very small one. A human ship. The aliens watched as the tiny silver shuttle approached the landing platform. It looked harmless. No weapons. No soldiers. Just a simple civilian craft. Why would humans send a ship here? An insect-like alien whispered. They know this place is dangerous. No one answered, because no one knew. The ship touched down with a soft hiss. The platform lights brightened. Every alien guard raised their weapons, ready for something dramatic, something dangerous, something that made sense. The door opened, and out came a child, a small human girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, wearing a yellow jacket with tiny cartoon stars printed on it. She had a messy ponytail, a tiny backpack, and the most casual smile anyone had ever seen in a place like this. The entire landing team froze. Why is it a child? Someone whispered in panic. Are humans insane? Another asked. A child cannot be allowed here. Someone stop her. But no one moved fast enough. The girl simply waved at them happily and walked forward like she was entering a playground. She didn't look scared at all. She didn't even look curious. She looked like she already knew where she was going. Her name was Leah, and she walked through the fortress halls calmly, humming a soft tune. Every alien stepped back like she was a ticking bomb. Stop her. Tell her it's forbidden. You cannot let a child near the dragon. But Leah did not stop. She walked straight toward the chamber of the deadliest creature ever captured. Inside the giant cage room, the alarms grew louder. Soldiers and guards shouted, fired warning beams, and tried to lock blast doors. But for some strange reason, every automatic door opened just before Leah reached it. Like the fortress itself was letting her through. The aliens controlling the doors panicked. It's not us. The system is responding to her on its own. Why? Humans do not have access. This must be a glitch. But it was not a glitch. Scalethorn lifted his head. The air vibrated with his growl. Metal screens cracked. Glass trembled. The temperature rose like lava was crawling across the floor. Still, the human child walked toward him. The guards shouted for her to run away. Some begged her. Some even cried. Nobody wanted to watch a child get burned alive. Leah reached the final security shield, an energy wall that disintegrated anything that touched it. The shield glowed bright blue, dangerous and deadly. The guard screamed, "Stop! It will kill you!" But when Leah stepped forward, the shield did something impossible. It softened. It rippled, and then it opened for her like water parting for a gentle hand. Every alien in the room froze. Silence fell like a heavy blanket. Scalethorn, the creature that turned warships into ash, leaned down. His huge head approached the tiny human. His burning eye locked onto her face. Leah smiled at him like he was a friendly dog. "Hi, Thorny," she whispered softly. The dragon's pupils widened. The fortress shook. One alien fainted. And then Scalethorn, destroyer of fleets, killer of kings, exhaled softly, like a tired old creature greeting an old friend. It made no sense. It was impossible. It was terrifying. And yet the child stepped even closer. The aliens held their breath, because the deadliest dragon in the galaxy had just bowed his head for a human child. The entire fortress had forgotten how to breathe. Hundreds of aliens stood frozen behind the thick safety glass, eyes wide, mouths open, some shaking so hard their armor rattled. They had seen battles. They had seen ships explode. They had faced black hole storms and cosmic beasts. But nothing prepared them for the sight of a tiny human girl walking calmly toward a dragon that once destroyed an entire armada. Leah took another step. Her shoes made a soft tapping sound on the metal floor, tiny and innocent. Scalethorn's head lowered even further, until he was barely one breath away from her. His scales glowed like red-hot iron. Smoke curled from his jaws in dark ribbons. Any normal creature would run. Any sane person would panic. Leah smiled. She reached out her small hand like she was greeting an old friend at school. Behind the glass, a commander with her glowing eyes pressed his face to the window. "This is not possible," he whispered. "Dragons do not bow. Dragons do not show calmness. That girl should be melted to bones." But Scalethorn did not burn her. He watched her, studied her, as if trying to remember something long forgotten. Leah tilted her head. "You look tired, Thorny." The entire observation deck gasped. No one, absolutely no one, ever gave a dragon a nickname. The dragon's pupils shrank. His massive wings twitched. Chains holding him vibrated like they were seconds from snapping. A scientist alien trembled, so hard his tablet fell. "Commander, should we activate emergency vaporization?" "Are you mad?" the commander hissed. "If we kill the child, that creature will destroy the station." But they all knew the truth. With or without the child, Scalethorn could destroy anything. Inside the chamber, the dragon leaned even closer. For the first time in his long life, he looked confused, curious, almost gentle. Leah stepped right up to him and placed her hand on his giant nose. The moment she touched him, the red lights in the chamber flickered. The energy chain sparked. The air shimmered. Every alien dropped to the ground as a wave of silent power rolled across the fortress. "What is that energy?" someone cried. "This is not dragon power. No, this is something else." But Leah felt none of it. Her hand rested softly on Scalethorn's hot scales. She didn't burn. She didn't even flinch. She simply giggled, like touching a warm rock. "You're not scary," she said softly. "You're just lonely." Lonely. That one word hit Scalethorn like a meteor. His jaw trembled. His wings lowered. His tail stopped thrashing. The alien stared in shock. The dragon was calming down. Commander Jiren, the four-armed leader, slammed his fist on the desk. Humans must explain this. They must explain everything. A dragon is reacting to a child like she carries royal blood. A guard stuttered, "But humans have no dragons." "They have something," Jiren muttered. "Something we do not understand." Back inside the chamber, Scalethorn lowered himself onto his massive stomach, lowering his head until it rested on the floor beside Leah. His golden eye watched her, unblinking and glowing with a strange softness that should not exist in a creature born for war. One alien whispered, "Is the dragon surrendering?" Another whispered back, "No." Worse, he is trusting her. The fortress alarm suddenly blared again. Red lights flashed faster. A huge warning filled every screen. Human shuttle. Access file missing. Identity unknown. Child not registered in galactic systems. The humans had sent a child who didn't even exist in official records. The aliens panicked instantly. Why is she not recorded? Who is she? Is she some kind of weapon? Is she engineered? Is she dangerous? The word spread like wildfire. Inside the chamber, the dragon shifted slightly. His voice, deep, ancient, and vibrating through the air, echoed faintly. It was not speech. It was not a roar. It was something older, a growl mixed with a whisper, carrying meaning without language. Leah understood him. She blinked and nodded. Yes, I hear you. Every alien screamed in shock. She can hear the dragon? She understands dragon tongue? That is impossible. Dragon language melts brains. Why is she still alive? Belia simply knelt down and pressed her forehead against Scalethorn's nose. The dragon's giant chest shook as if holding back an emotion dragons were never supposed to feel. Warmth, connection, recognition. Leah whispered, I came because you called. The aliens froze. What? The dragon called her? Commander Jiren nearly tore out his own hair. How can a dragon call a human child across the galaxy? And why her? What is she? What have humans been hiding? Inside the chamber, Scalethorn made a low sound, almost like a purr but heavier, like a volcano humming happily. The child nodded again. I know. I'll help you. I promise. Promised? Promise when no alien could understand what they were witnessing. But every alien felt it. The universe had just changed direction. A connection older than any empire had awakened. A dragon, the deadliest being alive, had chosen a tiny human child, and she had chosen him back. The fortress trembled violently as new energy pulsed between them, shaking floors, walls, and circuits. Shields flickered. Lights died. The giant viewing glass cracked in 3 places. The aliens stumbled back in horror. What is happening? Is the dragon breaking free? No, it is the child. The energy is coming from her. She is glowing. Yes. Leah's small hand began to shine with a soft golden light, exactly the same color as Scalethorn's eye. The dragon growled softly, almost protectively, curling his wings around her like armor, and all the galaxies watching through camera feeds whispered the same terrified question. What is that human child? The fortress shook like a living creature trapped in fear. Lights flickered. Screens glitched. The floor trembled beneath alien feet. Every creature on Star Fortress Varyon stared at the glowing child, and the dragon wrapped around her like a living shield. Leah's hand glowed brighter. Scalethorn's golden eye burned like a rising sun. An impossible was happening right in front of thousands of terrified witnesses. A bond was forming. A bond that should not exist. A bond outlawed by ancient cosmic laws. Commander Jiren slammed a fist on the emergency panel. Seal the chamber. Seal it now. But the doors refused to obey. Instead, they opened wider, smooth, calm, and silent, to allow more space around Dragon. It's her, a panicked technician screamed. The child is overriding the system without touching anything. How? Jiren roared. Humans cannot hack our fortress. Sir, I do not think this is hacking. The technician swallowed hard. I think this is magic. Everyone went silent. Magic, a word so old it felt like dust and legend. Inside the chamber, Scalethorn slowly lifted his massive head, and the glowing chains around his wings and tail snapped like weak threads. The energy restraints flickered, sparked, and died. No one dared shoot. No one dared move. The dragon's shadow stretched across the chamber like a dark storm, but he didn't roar. He didn't attack. He waited, watched, guarded the tiny girl who stood before him like she was his only anchor to the world. Leah looked small, so small, compared to the mountain of scales beside her, yet she lifted her chin as if she was the one protecting him. Her voice echoed soft but steady. It's okay. I'm here now. You don't have to be scared. Scared? That word echoed across the station. Scared was not something a dragon felt. Dragons created fear. Dragons made armies run. Dragons survived supernova blasts and ancient wars. But Leah said it again, clearer. I know you were scared, Thorny. I felt it. Scalethorn's wings lowered slowly. His tail wrapped around her feet, like a protective barrier. His breath washed over her like warm wind, not fire. The golden glow between them pulsed again. Once, twice, a heartbeat rhythm. Alien scientists watching from the observation deck froze. "Oh no," one whispered. "Is that a heart sink?" A heart sink hasn't happened in a million years. But only dragons can sync with other dragons. How can human child match a dragon's heart? Jiren grabbed the scientist by the collar. "Explain. What is happening?" The scientist's voice shook. "Long ago, dragons chose partners. Beings they trusted with their life force, their fire, their mind." He swallowed hard. The bond allowed them to share power, share emotions, share life. Jiren's four eyes widened. "And now the dragon is doing this with a child?" "Yes," the scientist whispered. "The dragon has accepted her. But what does that mean for us?" A guard shouted. The scientist answered with trembling lips. "It means the dragon will kill the universe before letting anything hurt her." A chilling silence fell. Inside the chamber, the floor under Leah's feet rumbled as Scalethorn shifted his massive weight. His head lowered again, almost touching the ground in respect. A gesture no alien had ever seen a dragon perform. The glow grew brighter. Leah took a step forward. She placed a soft kiss on the giant creature's nose. A simple, innocent gesture. But to dragons, that gesture meant something ancient and sacred. The moment her lips touched his scales, a shockwave burst outward. Not dangerous, not violent, but powerful. Screen shattered. Windows cracked. Energy sensors exploded. A golden pulse raced out of the dragon's body and up the walls, through the fortress, through the cameras, through communication towers, into space, into every watching ship. Every alien froze. Every heart stopped for one long second. Every creature felt something warm brush their soul. A promise, a warning, a new force awakening. But inside the chamber, Scalethorn simply made a deep, low sound, a rumble somewhere between a roar and a purr. Leah touched his cheek, glowing faintly from the energy he shared with her. "You don't need to fight anymore," she whispered. "You're not alone." Scalethorn's wings spread wide, metal buckled. Sparks shot from the ceiling. Power cables burst like fireworks. But his eyes remained gentle. A small camera drone, floating near the ceiling, turned its lens in disbelief. The deadliest dragon in the galaxy had just allowed, no, welcomed, a human child's touch. And then he spoke, not in dragon cries, not in telepathic waves meant for destruction, but in a deep, ancient language that carried straight into every mind watching. A single word. Some screamed. Some fell to their knees. Commander Jiren staggered backwards like he'd been punched. "He claimed her," he shouted. "This is a blood bond. An eternal tie. A dragon claiming a human child means." But he didn't finish, because at that moment, the chamber lights crashed into darkness. The fortress heartbeat went silent. And from the shadows behind Scalethorn, something else moved. Something that had been asleep for years. Something that woke up the moment the bond was made. Something older and far more dangerous. Leah and Scalethorn turned at the same time. The golden eye of a second dragon opened, and the universe changed again. For a long moment, the fortress felt like it had no air left inside it. The giant dark chamber was silent. Too silent, except for the slow, echoing sound of something enormous breathing in the shadows. The faint glow from Scalethorn's golden eye lit only a small circle around him and Leah, leaving everything else swallowed in darkness. But then, another glow appeared. Not gold. Mine! The fortress shook. Several aliens fainted. Not warm. Blue. Cold. Sharp like ice. A second dragon. Eye open in the far corner of the chamber. Aliens watching through broken monitors screamed in shock. There were two. No. Impossible. Only one was captured. This is not on any record. "Commander, what have we been guarding?" Commander Jiren stood frozen as his four eyes widened in horror. This is not the same species," he whispered. "This second dragon is older, much older. Inside the chamber, Scalethorn stepped protectively in front of Lia, blocking her with his massive wing. His muscles tensed. His scales flared. The golden glow around him sharpened, turning fierce. He was ready to fight. Lia peeked from behind his wing, eyes wide with fear but also something else. Curiosity. The second dragon slowly stepped forward, shaking dust from its body. Its scales were dark silver, almost mirror-like, reflecting faint blue light with every movement. Instead of fire, cold mist flowed from its mouth. A frost dragon, a species believed extinct for over 100,000 years. The chamber temperature dropped instantly. Frost crept along the walls. Aliens outside felt their screens freeze, their breath turn white. Some whispered, trembling, "What have we awakened? What else hides in this fortress? How long has that creature been sleeping?" The second dragon lowered its head, studying Scalethorn, then looking at Lia. Lia felt a strange chill crawl down her spine. This dragon's gaze did not feel gentle like Scalethorn's. It felt ancient. It felt hungry. It felt wise enough to judge entire civilizations. "Thorny," Lia whispered, touching Scalethorn's wing. "Is he your friend?" The frost dragon let out a deep, echoing growl that shook every metal beam in the fortress. Scalethorn answered with a roar so loud several windows shattered. Aliens ducked. Some fell to their knees as pressure waves shook their bones. Jiren grabbed a rail, shouting, "They are speaking. They're using battle language." "Which means," a guard cried. "Which means," Jiren said, voice shaking, "the second dragon does not accept a bond." Inside the chamber, the frost dragon stepped closer, exhaling cold mist that froze the ground under its claws. It lowered its head until it was almost level with Lia. The girl shivered. Her breath turned white. Her fingers numbed. But she didn't step back. She lifted her chin, forcing confidence she didn't feel. The frost dragon's growl vibrated inside her skull. Not words, but meaning. Ancient meaning. Lia stumbled, grabbing Scalethorn's leg for balance. What is he saying?" Jiren asked through trembling lips. A scientist answered, voice barely audible. "He is asking why the child touched the fire dragon, and why the fire dragon responded." Lia swallowed hard. She didn't speak dragon language like a translator. She didn't hear words. She felt emotions, images, thoughts. Frost, fire, stars collapsing, dragons fighting each other. A war from before history even began. She took a deep breath. "He thinks I chose wrong," she whispered. "He thinks I should belong to him." Scalethorn roared so loud the fortress lights burst like tiny suns. His tail slammed against the floor, cracking the metal. His wings spread, making him look twice his size. Lia felt the meaning inside that roar. Mine. Protector. Bonded. No other may touch. The frost dragon answered with a roar colder than winter storms. Every alien screamed. Condensation froze instantly. Wires cracked. Pipes burst. Frost crawled toward Lia's feet like living snakes made of ice. Scalethorn slammed his tail down, melting the frost with a burst of heat. Two ancient forces clashed inside the small chamber. One of fire, one of ice, both unstoppable. Lia stepped between them. "Stop." Her voice was tiny, but it echoed with the golden glow of the bond. The dragons froze. Her glow brightened. The frost dragon blinked, confused for the first time in centuries. It stepped back slightly, sniffing the energy around the child. It felt something familiar, something very old, something dragons had lost long ago. The heart fire. The same power dragons once carried inside their souls, before their species nearly destroyed themselves with war. Lia whispered, "I'm not choosing anyone. I'm here to help." The frost dragons I narrowed. Help? Dragons did not ask for help. Dragons demanded loyalty. Dragons ruled. Yet this tiny human child stood in front of two titans without fear. The frost dragon lowered his head until his ice-cold nose almost touched her hand. Lia felt a blast of cold, but not painful. Just ancient. Heavy. Lonely. She reached out. The aliens watching screamed. No. She cannot touch a frost dragon. She will freeze to death. Stop her. But she placed her hand gently on the dragon's nose. Cold energy raced up her arm like lightning, but she didn't pull back. Instead, the frost melted around her fingers. Her glow grew brighter, stronger, more alive. The frost dragon's blue eye widened. Recognition flashed. Heart fire. True heart. Chosen one. It stepped back slowly, bowing its head, not deeply, but enough to show respect. Commander Jiren stared in disbelief. Both dragons accepted her. The scientist dropped his tablet. This is not a bond, he whispered. This is a prophecy. Inside the chamber, Scalethorn wrapped his wing around Lia again. The frost dragon circled them like a silent guardian. The child looked small, yet powerful enough to reshape destiny. And then the frost dragon spoke one word, ancient, heavy, echoing into every mind. Awakening. The fortress trembled as sensors detected something terrifying outside. Across the galaxy, dragons everywhere were waking up. The alarms on Star Fortress Varyon screamed like the metal walls were crying. The temperature was rising and dropping at the same time, one side boiling, the other freezing. Fire dragon and frost dragon energy clashed in the atmosphere, twisting the air into glowing waves. Aliens across the fortress ran, shouted, stumbled, but no one was watching the chaos outside the chamber. Everyone was focused on the child inside it. Lia stood between the two dragons, one blazing with heat, one glowing with cold. She looked tiny compared to them, but her calm expression held a strange, quiet power. The dragons towered over her like ancient mountains, yet both seemed to wait for her signal. Commander Jiren stared through the cracked viewing glass, breathing fast. This child, she command them, he whispered, both fire and frost. A scientist shook his head. No, dragons don't follow orders. They follow destiny. Another hissed, destiny or not, this is dangerous. We must inform the Galactic Council. But before Jiren could answer, the fortress lights died. Everything became dark. Not the normal kind of darkness. A heavy, suffocating kind. Something was inside that darkness. A presence. A will. A cold whisper echoed through the fortress speakers, even though no one had touched them. You awaken them. Several aliens screamed and covered their ears. Who is that? Jiren shouted, but the voice continued, smooth and venomous. The dragons belong to us. Inside the chamber, Scalethorn growled. The frost dragon snarled. Both dragons snapped their heads upward like they sensed something above the ceiling. Lia took a step back. She didn't see anything yet, but she felt it. A dark energy. Old, but not as old as dragons. Twisted, artificial, hungry. The alarms returned with a violent jolt. A red alert message blinked across every screen. Unauthorized ships detected. Multiple vessels approaching. Identified. Void Syndicate warships. Danger level. Extreme. Jiren's four eyes widened. The Void Syndicate? Here. Now! Everyone knew that name. A criminal empire. A group that stole ancient technology. They experimented on living creatures. They hunted rare beings to turn them into weapons. And they had been searching for dragons for centuries. Inside the chamber, Lia shivered. The dragon sensed her fear and closed in around her, forming a protective circle. The fortress trembled as enemy warships locked onto them. The dark voice returned. Step away from the dragons, child. Lia clenched her fists. No. A soft gas spread across the chamber. The voice growled. You do not understand what you carry. Lia felt her heart glow, soft, warm, bright. The same golden light the fire dragon shared with her. I understand enough, she said softly. They trust me, and I trust them. The frost dragon lowered its head, releasing a misty breath that froze the floor but left Lia untouched. Scalethorn's wings rose slowly, flames flickering between the scales. But the voice only laughed. Trust? Dragons are weapons, and we will take them. Then we will take you by force. The fortress shook a third time. This time, the blast was so powerful it broke open the outer wall of the dragon chamber. Wind roared in. Debris flew. Metal ripped, and through the giant opening stepped a massive armored figure, cloaked in darkness and smoke, with glowing red eyes. A void syndicate hunter. The most feared kind. Liah took a step back. Scalethorn and the frost dragon roared at the same time, shaking the universe. The hunter pointed at her. You, child, come. Liah stared at him, and for the first time since she arrived, her eyes glowed gold. Cold wind screamed to the broken chamber wall as the void syndicate hunter stepped inside. His body was covered in black armor, thick and sharp as obsidian. Red energy pulsed through the cracks in his suit like veins filled with poison. Every step he took made the metal floor bend. Liah stood frozen, not from fear, from recognition. She didn't know his face. She didn't know his name, but something deep inside her whispered, "You have seen his darkness before." The hunter lifted one clawed hand and pointed straight at her. "You carry the heart fire," he said in a deep, metallic voice. "It belongs to us." Scalethorn's flames roared upward in an explosion of heat. The frost dragon unleashed a shockwave of cold that formed razor-sharp ice across the floor. But the hunter didn't even flinch. He simply raised his other hand, and the dragon staggered as if hit by invisible chains. The fortress shook as both dragons roared in pain. Liah gasped and ran to Scalethorn's side, placing her hands on the scales. "What are you doing to them?" she shouted. The hunter tilted his head. "Dragons are powerful, but they can still be controlled if you know their ancient weaknesses." The frost dragon's breath stopped. Scalethorn's wings dropped. Their eyes dimmed. Liah felt her heart burn with panic. "Stop hurting them." The hunter took one more step. "It is simple, child. Come with me and they will be free." Jiren yelled from the control deck. "Don't listen to him. He will kill you." The hunter didn't even glance up. His voice was cold, emotionless. "We do not kill Heartfire hosts. We use them." Liah squeezed Scalethorn's face. "Thorny, please wake up. Wake up." A faint glow flickered deep in the dragon's chest. Weak but alive, she leaned closer, whispering, "I'm not letting them take you." Her voice trembled, but her hands glowed gold again, brightness rising from her heart. And for the first time, the glow crawled across Scalethorn's scales like living light. The hunter froze. His voice sharpened. "That is not possible." Liah didn't hear him. She pressed her forehead against Scalethorn. "Fight with me?" Fire burst in the dragon's mouth, not normal fire, but golden fire, matching her glow. The hunter blocked it with shield of black energy, but the force sent him sliding backward. The frost dragon recovered next. Ice spread from its claws, forming a giant wall between the hunter and the child. For a moment, a small moment, Liah felt hope, but the hunter laughed. His armor cracked open along the spine, and black mechanical spikes shot outward like insect legs. Red lights flared. His voice deepened. "You think dragons scare me? We built weapons from their bones." The dragons roared at the insult. Steel beams tore from the walls as the hunter charged through the ice, slicing through the frost barrier like paper. He reached Liah in seconds, but something else reached her too. Her new power. The golden glow surged from her chest again, this time stronger, wilder, hotter. The air vibrated. Dust rose. Metal lifted off the ground and floated around her. The hunter stopped mid-strike. "What are you?" he hissed. Liah didn't know, but she spoke from instinct. "I'm someone who won't let you hurt them." Golden lightning blasted from her palms. The hunter was thrown across the chamber, slammed into the far wall, and buried under a pile of broken metal. The fortress shook again, this time from something outside. Enemy warships circled the station, charging weapons for a final attack. "Commander!" a guard cried. "They're powering the planet breaker cannon. That will destroy the entire station." Jiren shouted. Aliens ran. Officers screamed. Some collapsed in panic. But then, a sudden silence. A massive shadow covered the fortress. Jiren looked up slowly. Through the broken wall, through the smoke and debris, a giant creature flew past the station. Larger than both dragons in the chamber. A dragon, then another, and then dozens more. Dragons, From every corner of the galaxy had awakened fire dragons, frost dragons, storm dragons, sand dragons, dragons with crystal wings, dragons with metal scales, dragons whose roars echoed across space. The void syndicate fleet froze. For the first time in history, they were prey. Inside the chamber, the hunter crawled from the rubble, staring up at the incoming swarm. "No," he whispered. "They should be extinct. They should be enslaved. They should—" But Scalethorn cut him off with a thunderous roar, wings spreading wide. The frost dragon joined him, unleashing cold that fractured the remaining walls. Lia stepped forward between them. Her hair lifted in the charged air. Her eyes glowed like molten gold. Outside, the largest dragon of all, a colossal beast with wings like burning stars, hovered above the fortress and unleashed a roar that shook entire continents. The enemy ships panicked. "Retreat! Too many dragons. We cannot win. Fall back! Fall back!" Dragons surrounded the fortress like a living storm. Their combined power created a shield stronger than any technology. The war that should have happened, never began, because no one dared fire a single shot. Inside the chamber, the hunter turned to flee, but the frost dragon slammed a claw in front of him, blocking the path. Scalethorn lowered his head and growled, and Lia walked forward to face the hunter up close. "You lost," she said softly. The hunter stared at her glowing eyes. "You are the catalyst," he whispered. "The one who wakes the ancient power. The one dragons obey." Then he gave a chilling smile. "But if you live, the whole galaxy will burn." Before Lia could respond, the hunter triggered a teleport device and vanished into black mist. Scalethorn growled angrily, wanted to chase him, but Lia touched the scales. "Let him go." Her voice was soft, but strong. The frost dragon lowered his head beside hers. Outside, hundreds of dragons circled the fortress like guardians. Commander Jurin stared at the sight and whispered, "When a child commands dragons, our galaxy will never be the same." Star Fortress Varyon drifted silently in space, surrounded by hundreds of dragons whose wings glowed like living stars. Fire dragons burned bright. Frost dragons shimmered like frozen moons. Storm dragons crackled with lightning, and ancient species no one had seen for 1,000,000 years soared in wide circles around the damaged station. For the aliens watching inside, it felt like witnessing the birth of a new era or the beginning of their end. Commander Jurin stood weakly, barely able to keep his 4 knees from shaking. This is not a swarm," he whispered. "This is a council of dragons." A scientist added with a trembling voice, "No, this is a summoning. They have come for the child." Inside the broken chamber, Lia stood between Scalethorn and the frost dragon. Her golden glow dimmed now, soft and warm like a heartbeat instead of blinding light. Exhaustion trembled in her legs, but the dragons pressed their bodies gently against her, giving her strength. Scalethorn bent his massive head down to her height. His golden eye stared into hers with something no one had ever seen from a dragon: pride, protection, affection. The frost dragon lowered its head beside him, touching its icy snout lightly to Lia's shoulder. The 2 ancient creatures, born to fight each other, now stood united around a human child. Jurin whispered, "She controls them." "No," a voice said from behind him. "She leads them, and that is very different." The aliens turned. A human diplomat had arrived through emergency transport, a tall woman with gray eyes and a calm but worried face. Lia looked up as the woman approached the broken chamber. "Aunt Mara." The diplomat ran forward, falling to her knees and pulling the child into a tight embrace. "Oh, Lia, what have you done?" Mara whispered, voice shaking with relief and fear. "You disappeared from Earth. We thought you were kidnapped." Lia shook her head. "No, I came here because I felt something calling me." Mara cupped the child's face. "You don't understand the danger." But her words stopped as both dragons growled softly to defend the girl. Mara slowly lowered her hand. "You bonded with 2 dragons. That has never happened in history." Lia looked down at her hands. They weren't bad. They were scared. They were alone. Outside, More dragons landed on the station hull, crushing metal under their weight. The air felt like it was vibrating with ancient power. A deep rumble echoed through the chamber, not from Scalethorn, not from the Frost Dragon, but from outside. The largest dragon of all slowly descended toward the opening. He was colossal, wings wider than battleships, scales glowing like molten planets, eyes burning with wisdom older than galaxies. Every alien fell to ground. Even Mara took a step back. Scalethorn bowed his head. The Frost Dragon did the same. The ancient dragon spoke, not with sound, but directly into the mind of every living creature. Heartfire has awakened. Leah felt her chest warm. The golden glow pulsed stronger. The great dragon's gaze focused on her. Child of light, you carry what was lost, what was stolen, what was meant for us all. Leah whispered, Heartfire. The dragon's voice filled her soul. It is a spark of balance, the gift that could unite our species, the power that ended our wars, the power the Void Syndicate wants of themselves. Mara closed her eyes as dread washed over her. So the Syndicate attacked the station because of Leah. The great dragon nodded. They knew she was awakening. They tried to take her before she bonded. Now they will try again. Leah held Scalethorn's claw tightly. I won't let them hurt anyone. The great dragon lowered his head until his enormous eye was level with hers. You cannot fight them alone. For her, Scalethorn growled, I will burn stars. For her, the Frost Dragon hissed, I will freeze worlds. The great dragon looked at the two guardians and nodded. Then it is decided. The child does not belong to the Syndicate. She belongs to the dragons. Mara gasped, You can't take her. But Leah stepped forward. I'm not going anywhere without you, she said softly. The great dragon spoke again. She will stay with humans. But dragons will protect her. Always. Outside, all the dragons roared at once. A sound so powerful the fortress itself shook. A promise echoing across stars. The great dragon continued. A shadow is rising. The Syndicate has awakened something far worse than themselves. Something ancient. Something that hunts Heartfire. Leah's heart skipped. What hunts me? The great dragon's answer chilled every soul. Another child. Silence. Cold, deep silence. Mara whispered. Another Heartfire bearer, but twisted? The great dragon nodded slowly. Stolen. Corrupted. Turned into a weapon. Leah swallowed hard. Her voice shook. Is she coming for me? The dragon's enormous eye narrowed. She is already here. The fortress alarms blared again. A final warning. Unidentified energy signature. Approaching at light speed. Heartfire variant detected. Danger level. Infinite. Scalethorn's wings rose in fury. The Frost Dragon's breath turned the air to ice. Leah stepped between them, shaking but brave. If she's like me, I have to help her. The great dragon spoke one last time, or she will destroy us all. A blinding beam of red light tore through space, heading straight for the fortress. Leah looked up. Her heart glowed. Her eyes burned gold. And for the first time, she understood her destiny. Then I'll stop her. The dragons roared. Space shook, and the universe prepared for a new legend.